Today on Commuter Bible, the Promised Land is divided with equity, and the Lord's promises to Israel are fulfilled. It's Joshua chapters 18 through 21 and Psalms 59 and 60. This is Commuter Bible, the audio Bible podcast to match your weekly schedule. I'm your host, John Ross. Now that the majority of the Promised Land has been conquered, the land is being divided by lot and by size according to the number of people in each tribe. Today's reading is the last section of text detailing the division of the land. And as mentioned in the last episode, consider the excitement and the joy that Israel experienced as each family learned where they would live and work and thrive for generations to come. While the descriptions may seem abstract to us, they were concrete and tangible pieces of real estate for Israel. Today's reading ends with a joyful conclusion, so make sure to pay attention. Joshua, chapters 18 through 21. The entire Israelite community assembled at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The land had been subdued before them, but 7 tribes among the Israelites were left who had not divided up their inheritance. So Joshua asked the Israelites, "How long will you delay going out to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, gave you? Appoint for yourselves 3 men from each tribe, and I will send them out. They are to go and survey the land, write a description of it for the purpose of their inheritance, and return to me. Then they are to divide it into 7 portions. Judah is to remain in its territory in the south, and Joseph's family in their territory in the north. When you have written a description of the 7 portions of the land and brought it to me, I will cast lots for you here in the presence of the Lord our God. But the Levites among you do not get a portion, because their inheritance is the priesthood of the Lord. Gad, Reuben, and half the tribe of Manasseh have taken their inheritance beyond the Jordan to the east, which Moses, the Lord's servant, gave them." As the men prepared to go, Joshua commanded them to write down a description of the land, saying, "Go and survey the land. Write a description of it, and return to me. I will then cast lots for you here in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men left, went through the land, and described it by towns in a document of 7 sections. They returned to Joshua at the camp in Shiloh. Joshua cast lots for them at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord, where he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their divisions. The lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin's descendants by their clans, and their allotted territory lay between Judah's descendants and Joseph's descendants. Their border on the north side began at the Jordan, ascended to the slope of Jericho on the north, through the hill country westward, and ended at the wilderness around Beth-aven. From there, the border went toward Luz, to the southern slope of Luz, that is Bethel. It then went down by Adaroth-adar, over the hill south of Lower Beth-horon. On the west side, from the hill facing Beth-horon on the south, the border curved, turning southward, and ended at Kiriath-baal, that is, Kiriath-jearim, a city of the descendants of Judah. This was the west side of their border. The south side began at the edge of Kiriath-jearim, and the border extended westward. It went to the spring at the waters of Nephtoah. The border descended to the foot of the hill that faces Ben-Hinnom Valley, at the northern end of Rephaim Valley. It ran down Hinnom Valley toward the south Jebusite slope and downward to En-rogel. It curved northward and went to En-shemesh and on to Geliloth, which is opposite the ascent of Adumim, and continued down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. Then it went north to the slope opposite the Arabah and proceeded into the plains. The border continued to the north slope of Ben-hoglah and ended at the northern bay of the Dead Sea, at the southern end of the Jordan. This was the southern border. The Jordan formed the border on the east side. This was the inheritance of Benjamin's descendants by their clans according to its surrounding borders. These were the cities of the tribe of Benjamin's descendants by their clans: Jericho, Beth Hogla, Emek Keziz, Beth Araba, Zemoraim, Bethel, Avim, Para, Ophrah, Chephar Ammoni, Ophni, and Geba. 12 cities with their settlements: Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mizpah, Chephirah, Moza, Rechem, Irpeel, Terala, Zelah, Haleph, Jebus, that is, Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath. 14 cities with their settlements. This was the inheritance for Benjamin's descendants by their clans. The second lot came out for Simeon, for the tribe of his descendants by their clans, but their inheritance was within the inheritance given to Judah's descendants. Their inheritance included Beersheba, or Sheba, Molada, Hazar-Shual, Bala, Ezim, Eltalad, Bethel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth-Markaboth, Hazar-Susa, Beth-Lebaoth, and Sherahan. 13 cities with their settlements: Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan. 4 cities with their settlements, and all the settlements surrounding these cities as far as Baalath-beer, Ramah in the south. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Simeon's descendants by their clans. The inheritance of Simeon's descendants was within the territory of Judah's descendants, because the share for Judah's descendants was too large. So Simeon's descendants received an inheritance within Judah's portion. The third lot came up for Zebulun's descendants by their clans. The territory of their inheritance stretched as far as Sarid. Their border went up westward to Maralah, reached Dabasheth, and met the brook east of Jokneam. From Sarid, it turned due east along the border of Chisloth-Tabor, went to Debereth, and went up to Japhia. From there it went due east to Gath-Hepher and to Eth-Kazin. It extended to Rimmon, curving around to Neah. The border then circled around Neah on the north to Hanathon and ended at Ifta-El Valley, along with Kattath, Nahalal, Shimron, Idalah, and Bethlehem. 12 cities with their settlements. This was the inheritance of Zebulun's descendants by their clans. These cities with their settlements. The fourth lot came out for the tribe of Issachar's descendants by their clans. Their territory went to Jezreel and included Chesuloth, Shunem, Hapharim, Shion, Anahareth, Rabbith, Chishion, Ebez, Remeth, En-Ganim, En-Hada, and Beth-Pazez. The border reached Tamor, Shehazumah, and Beth-Shemesh, and ended at the Jordan. 16 cities with their settlements. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Issachar's descendants by their clans, the cities with their settlements. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher's descendants by their clans. Their boundary included Helkath, Hali, Beton, Akshaph, Elimelech, Amid, and Mishal, and reached westward to Carmel and Shihor-Libnath. It turned eastward to Beth Dagon, reached Zebulun and Ifta-el Valley, north toward Beth-Emek and Neel, and went north to Kabul, Ebron, Rehob, Hammon, and Cana, as far as Greater Sidon. The boundary then turned to Ramah as far as the fortified city of Tyre. It turned back to Hosah and ended at the Mediterranean Sea, including Mahalab, Aksib, Umah, Aphek, and Rehob, 22 cities with their settlements. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Asher's descendants by their clans, these cities with their settlements. The sixth lot came out for Naphtali's descendants by their clans. Their boundary went from Heleph and from the oak in Zanaim, including Adami-Nekeb and Jabneel, as far as Lacham, and ended at the Jordan. To the west, the boundary turned toward Asnoth-Tabor and went from there to Hukok, reaching Zebulun on the south, Asher on the west, and Judah at the Jordan on the east. The fortified cities were Ziddim, Zer, Hamath, Rakkath, Chinnereth, Adama, Ramah, Hazor, Kadesh, Edrei, En-Hazor, Iran, Migdal-El, Horem, Beth-Anath, and Beth-Shemesh, 19 cities with their settlements. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali's descendants by their clans, the cities with their settlements. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of Dan's descendants by their clans. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir-Shemesh, Sheolaban, Aijalon, Ithla, Elon, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Baalath, Jehud, Benaberich, Gath-Rimmon, Mejarkon, and Rakkon, with the territory facing Joppa. When the territory of the descendants of Dan slipped out of their control, they went up and fought against Leshem, captured it, and struck it down with the sword. So they took possession of it, lived there, and renamed Leshem after their ancestor Dan. This was the inheritance of the tribe of Dan's descendants by their clans, these cities with their settlements. When they had finished distributing the land into its territories, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them. By the Lord's command, they gave him the city Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim, which he requested. He rebuilt the city and lived in it. These were the portions that the priest Eleazar, Joshua son of Nun, and the family heads distributed to the Israelite tribes by lot at Shiloh in the Lord's presence, at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So they finished dividing up the land. Then the Lord spoke to Joshua. Tell the Israelites, select your cities of refuge as I instructed you through Moses, so that a person who kills someone unintentionally or accidentally may flee there. These will be your refuge from the avenger of blood. When someone flees to one of these cities, stands at the entrance of the city gate, and states his case before the elders of that city, they are to bring him into the city and give him a place to live among them. And if the avenger of blood pursues him, they must not hand the one who committed manslaughter over to him, for he killed his neighbor accidentally and did not hate him beforehand. He is to stay in that city until he stands trial before the assembly, and until the death of the high priest serving at that time. Then the one who committed manslaughter may return home to his own city from which he fled. So they designated Kadesh in the hill country of Naphtali in Galilee, Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. Across the Jordan, east of Jericho, they selected Bezer on the wilderness plateau from Reuben's tribe, Ramoth in Gilead from Gad's tribe, and Golan in Bashan from Manasseh's tribe. These are the cities appointed for all the Israelites and the aliens residing among them, so that anyone who kills a person unintentionally may flee there and not die at the hand of the avenger of blood until he stands before the assembly. The Levite family heads approached the priest Eleazar, Joshua son of Nun, and the family heads of the Israelite tribes. At Shiloh, in the land of Canaan, they told them, "The Lord commanded through Moses that we be given cities to live in, with their pasture lands for our livestock." So the Israelites, by the Lord's command, gave the Levites these cities with their pasture lands from their inheritance. The lot came out for the Kohathite clans. The Levites, who were the descendants of the priest Aaron, received 13 cities by lot from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The remaining descendants of Kohath received 10 cities by lot from the clans of the tribes of Ephraim, Dan, and half the tribe of Manasseh. Gershon's descendants received 13 cities by lot from the clans of the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and half the tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. Merari's descendants received 12 cities for their clans from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. The Israelites gave these cities with their pasture lands around them to the Levites by lot, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. The Israelites gave these cities by name from the tribes of the descendants of Judah and Simeon to the descendants of Aaron from the Kohathite clans of the Levites, because they received the first lot. They gave them Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak, with its surrounding pasture lands in the hill country of Judah. But they gave the fields and settlements of the city to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. They gave to the descendants of the priest Aaron Hebron, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands, Libnah with its pasture lands, Jatir with its pasture lands, Eshtemoa with its pasture lands, Holon with its pasture lands, Debir with its pasture lands, Ain with its pasture lands, Juttah with its pasture lands, and Beth Shemesh with its pasture lands. 9 cities from these 2 tribes. From the tribe of Benjamin they gave Gibeon with its pasture lands, Geba with its pasture lands, Anathoth with its pasture lands, and Almon with its pasture lands. 4 cities. All 13 cities with their pasture lands were for the priests, the descendants of Aaron. The allotted cities to the remaining clans of Kohath's descendants, who were Levites, came from the tribe of Ephraim. The Israelites gave them Shechem, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands in the hill country of Ephraim, Gezer with its pasture lands, Kibzaim with its pasture lands, and Beth-horon with its pasture lands. 4 cities. From the tribe of Dan they gave Eltekeh with its pasture lands, Gibbethon with its pasture lands, Aijalon with its pasture lands, and Gath-rimmon with its pasture lands. 4 cities. From half the tribe of Manasseh they gave Tanakh with its pasture lands, and Gath-rimmon with its pasture lands. 2 cities. All 10 cities with their pasture lands were for the clans of Kohath's other descendants. From half the tribe of Manasseh they gave to the descendants of Gershon, who were one of the Levite clans Golan, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands in Bashan, and Bishtera with its pasture lands. 2 cities. From the tribe of Issachar they gave Kishion with its pasture lands, Debereth with its pasture lands, Jarmuth with its pasture lands, and En-gannim with its pasture lands. 4 cities. From the tribe of Asher they gave Mishal with its pasture lands, Abdon with its pasture lands, Helkath with its pasture lands, and Rehob with its pasture lands. 4 cities. From the tribe of Naphtali they gave Kadesh in Galilee, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands, Hamath-dor with its pasture lands, and Kartan with its pasture lands. 3 cities. All 13 cities with their pasture lands were for the Gershonites by their clans. From the tribe of Zebulun, they gave to the clans of the descendants of Merari, who were the remaining Levites Jokneam with its pasture lands, Karta with its pasture lands, Dimnah with its pasture lands, and Nahalal with its pasture lands. 4 cities. From the tribe of Reuben they gave Bezer with its pasture lands, Jahzah with its pasture lands, Kedemoth with its pasture lands, and Mephath with its pasture lands. 4 cities. From the tribe of Gad they gave Ramoth in Gilead, the city of refuge for the one who commits manslaughter, with its pasture lands, Mahanaim with its pasture lands, Heshbon with its pasture lands, and Jazer with its pasture lands. 4 cities in all. 12 cities were allotted to the clans of Merari's descendants, the remaining Levite clans. Within the Israelite possession there were 48 cities in all, with their pasture lands for the Levites. Each of these cities had its own surrounding pasture lands. This was true for all the cities. So the Lord gave Israel all the land he had sworn to give their ancestors, and they took possession of it and settled there. The Lord gave them rest on every side, according to all he had sworn to their ancestors. None of their enemies were able to stand against them, for the Lord handed over all their enemies to them. None of the good promises the Lord had made to the house of Israel failed. Everything was fulfilled. Psalm 59. Rescue me from my enemies, my God. Protect me from those who rise up against me. Rescue me from evildoers and save me from men of bloodshed. Because look, Lord, they set an ambush for me. Powerful men attack me, but not because of any sin or rebellion of mine. For no fault of mine, they run and take up a position. Awake to help me and take notice. Lord God of armies, you are the God of Israel. Rise up to punish all the nations. Do not show favor to any wicked traitors. They return at evening, snarling like dogs and prowling around the city. Look, they spew from their mouths, sharp words from their lips. For who, they say, will hear? But you laugh at them, Lord. You ridicule all the nations. I will keep watch for you, my strength, because God is my stronghold. My faithful God will come to meet me. God will let me look down on my adversaries. Do not kill them, otherwise my people will forget. By your power, make them homeless wanderers and bring them down, Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouths and the words of their lips, let them be caught in their pride. They utter curses and lies. Consume them in fury. Consume them until they are gone. Then people will know throughout the earth that God rules over Jacob. And they return at evening, snarling like dogs, and prowling around the city. They scavenge for food. They growl if they are not satisfied. But I will sing of your strength and will joyfully proclaim your faithful love in the morning. For you have been a stronghold for me, a refuge in my day of trouble. To you, my strength, I sing praises, because God is my stronghold, my faithful God. Psalm 60. God, you have rejected us. You have broken us down. You have been angry. Restore us. You have shaken the land and split it open. Heal its fissures, for it shudders. You have made your people suffer hardship. You have given us wine to drink that made us stagger. You have given a signal flag to those who fear you, so that they can flee before the archers. Save with your right hand and answer me, so that those you love may be rescued. God has spoken in his sanctuary. I will celebrate. I will divide up Shechem. I will apportion the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine, and Ephraim is my helmet. Judah is my scepter. Moab is my wash basin. I throw my sandal on Edom. I shout in triumph over Philistia. Who will bring me to the fortified city? Who will lead me to Edom? God, haven't you rejected us? God, you do not march out with our armies. Give us aid against the foe, for human help is worthless. With God, we will perform valiantly. He will trample our foes. If you have yet to write a review on Apple Podcasts, we would really love for you to rate us and to write a short review about why the show works for you. Maybe you've written a review before. If it's been a year or so, I think you can go back on and write another review and it'll accept it. Hey, I know it sounds like it's not a big deal, but it would be a big deal for us. So scroll down to the stars, rate the show, write a review. We would love your help in spreading the word. Thanks. Today's episode was narrated and orchestrated by me, John Ross, and co-produced by Bobby Brown, Eric Williamson, and the Christian Standard Bible. Thanks for listening, and remember, happy is the one whose delight is in the Lord's instruction, and he meditates on it day and night.